Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Gregolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. Bout get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix, so get ready, cause we bout to get it poppin'. And we ain't stopping.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again. Yeah, we at it again. Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again. Yeah, we at it again. Yeah, yeah.
Way to co-opt the blacks with your theme song, Nick and Greg Manginers.
We had to play it for you. Like, it needed to happen.
By the way, Nick, what's the best Mangina reference in a movie? I think it's from Step Brothers.
Yeah, that's kind of where we got it from.
It's the greatest.
Yeah.
That ending scene, or that scene near the end with those two, is just my favorite.
Brendan has a mangina.
Oh my God, poor
That's
Brendan.
kind of where we got it from. That's
so good. I have one too. So.
Same. It's Mark's Women's History Month.
Yeah.
I just tucked it back for you. So.
Why do women get a month?
Yeah, why?
We should get 3 days a month every month because we bleed. I mean, I don't. I'm 59. That ship has sailed. Thank you, Jesus. Oy vey. Who needs it?
I'm still bleeding.
I know.
For those of you who are wondering who that voice is on
It's
the other
Greg.
end, it's Greg. He's finally transitioned.
It's finally made
I
it.
mean, it's about time.
It's the Queen of Mean.
The former Queen,
You're
mean.
the Queen of Mean, who's one of the nicest people I've ever
I'm
met.
like the greatest. I don't know what it
Lisa
is.
Lampanelli.
I didn't ask Bo about this the other day when he did his non-downloaded podcast.
Who's Bo?
Bo McDonald's
Who's
or
that?
something.
Who is that?
Mo McDonald's. He
we
looks
know
like
him?
McDonald's is the sponsor of his podcast.
Well,
You're
of
getting
course it
confused.
is. Did you see him?
Yeah.
Not to fat shame, but I am. No, but it's like I was like saying to him, like, how did I get sucked into thinking I owe you guys help? It's like the universe said to me, I'm going to take, your old crippled friend out of your life, and I'm going to put your mom in a home so you don't have to watch her too much. Let me insert 2 dummies to help. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I have the same
It's
questions
weird.
to myself.
Well, the thing is, though, I'm a big celebrity.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
terrific.
true.
Talented.
Yeah.
I go out on a Saturday. Don Jameson, who was at your show the other day, who was a headliner, gave me the worst insult I ever been in my life. He goes, "So, do you come here every week?" And I said, "Oh my God, I'm never showing up there again." Because actually, I'm friends
Damn it,
with
Don. I'm trying to keep her
I'm friends
around.
with Voss too, and I'm like, I can't show up there again like a loser on Saturday night. So
I was
I'm
going to
not.
actually ask if you were going to come watch.
I'm
Voss.
going to see my other dirty homosexual friend. Not you, the other one.
Who?
Gus? No, buddy. No, not a comic. I have friends. I don't have any comic friends. Gus is a friend now until
Yeah.
he starts misbehaving. Then he's out.
Until he sucks.
The way I roll with these comics, Greg, I try to help them. I don't, though, now overly help. Like, I won't put it this way. Gus doesn't need me any more than I need him. I think all these things have to be even.
Right.
You and Bo are different. You're both just kind of dummies who are struggling.
Amen.
I say, let me help. Let Lisa help is my motto. And that'll end soon enough when I start getting annoyed.
How do I keep it going?
Actually, you can keep it going by just doing what I effing say. Because these comics who ask for your help, there's a reason I became monstrously famous and wealthy. Why are you not listening to me? But I will say for you and for Bo McDonald's, you guys both listen and learn. Greg, you would not believe the difference in 1 week. Actually, it was 2 weeks. You guys were so much better because Bo slowed down. He actually did punchlines instead of, I'm just going to be monotone and fat
Lazy.
and dopey.
Yeah.
And you, I don't know, there's not that much terrible stuff about you, but I will find it. I will.
And I want you to. I'm one of
Don't
those.
worry, I'm watching.
I have a list. I'll send it to you.
I know.
I'm one
we
of those
must.
people, man. Like, I mean, like, it's funny to think that you said people haven't taken your advice.
I tell them to die then.
It's wild. Like, even in, work in the fitness industry, I've always tried to find who's the best.
Why
Who's done the
not?
best? Let me ask them all the questions.
Thank you. I mean, I took advice early on. I remember when I started, I'd taken a comedy class I started in New Haven at Joker's Wild. This is like, 35 years ago? And it's still, I think it still exists or just closed. And there was this comedy teacher named Michael Jackson. No lie. This was a different Michael Jackson. This one was black. So I do the class with this guy. Of course I'm going to listen. He gave us the best ways to construct 5 minutes, you know, and it was such good advice. Okay, fine. Then I'm in the city after a few years, and I tracked down this headliner at the comic strip, and I was like, can you help me? And he ends up, he's one of Ray Romano's head writers. So of course I'm going to listen. I remember he said, this is the best thing you could ever remember as a comic. The audience is paying for punchlines, not for prose. So he'd be like, if you have a sentence in between punchlines, that's fine. But don't like tell a freaking story with no punchlines. Because that's why I have no problem doing storytelling in the show. On sale now, fairfieldtheater.org. Called Sit Down and Shut Up by Lisa Lampanelli. I will say, a story can be told, but with punchlines in it. You can't torture the audience with your dumb talk.
Right.
You understand?
No, I mean, you helped me with that.
You actually don't just ramble, thank God.
Yeah, no, but you definitely, I mean, every critique I've had, and it was from everyone that I've sent it to a bunch of comics, it's always like you need to punch it up, or like you need to add stuff, or find other things, you know what I mean?
But also you come from truth, too, which is good, because I go, you told some story on stage, or to me in the coaching about, what was it? Like something happened, like, and I go, the trans, you have
my cousin who's married to a transgender man.
And I go, that's not true, is it? And you're like, oh yeah, it is. Because it'd be horrible if it wasn't true, because like you're making fun.
It'd be weird to make that up, yeah.
But I like that you naturally come from stuff that really happens, because a lot of comics just try to make stuff up. It doesn't work.
I don't have a brain like that.
You don't have a brain.
I don't.
You might as well just use your experience and keep working out.
Keep tucking it back, and you will be all.
At first,
fine.
he tried to do like a fitness job, right? You were
a
trainer.
Yeah, for 10 years.
It didn't
I'm
work.
Still doing it.
Look at you. It's not helping. You might as well go to comedy. Good thing I'm nice now, huh?
That's
good positive self-image.
That was nice, dude. I was hoping to get ripped on today.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
It's the only reason I came.
Was my test.
I love that. That was great.
You know, it's fun when you don't make fun of somebody. It means you're kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, I've always said that. I've always, like, if people I don't like, I just don't talk to them.
That's the worst. You have to just go,
like, if I don't like
have to
them,
be careful with their feelings.
Yeah, I told you this last week at BJ Ryan's, but like I didn't know, like growing up with a dad like mine, I didn't know sensitive people existed. Until my 20s. Like I really didn't know that people like couldn't handle like just ball busting between friends. It wasn't coming from a bad place.
I know.
People just I was like, oh, I didn't know like people got upset. I thought this is just like.
Well, yeah, I mean, but also, you know, like we grew up. Are you 100% Italian?
I have no idea. I think I'm a quarter Polish or some shit.
Me too. How weird.
I think my grandmother was blonde. Like,
my dad was light skinned Italian. He was white. I know. So they would joke, or my mom was the badass. She would like joke around and bust balls. My dad wouldn't. He was really sensitive and nice. Everybody liked him. And everybody liked her too, because she was like kind of just jokey, and you kind of knew she didn't mean it. So I think that's why you sort of see that example and go, okay, I guess I could call you a dirty Jew. And then you're like, wait, I can't, because that's actually wrong.
My dad used to say the wildest shit to everyone. He like in the community in Westchester, there's a bunch of business owners. He owned a bagel shop, and there were a bunch of other guys, and they all knew each other. And one dude was Middle Eastern, and this is... It's Westchester. We're right outside of New York City. 9/11 just happened. I'm 13 years old.
Yep.
Okay. We're at this dude's his gas station that he owns, right? Shocking.
Yeah.
He owns a gas station, and we're there, and it's just him and my dad are talking, and I'm just standing there. And on the way out, my dad goes, "Hey, what's up with your boy? Flying shit in the buildings."
Oh my God. Okay.
And I was like,
first of all, that's fantastic.
And I was like, oh, and he goes, Bubby, no, he's crazy. But like, he gets all, and he's like, no, he's crazy. And then they start busting each other's balls.
I like that. But what makes me laugh too is, okay, I hate when people now have to be like, tell me their opinions on things like that are stupid. So yesterday, right, I sold a big house in Connecticut over the summer. I had most of my stuff in storage, and I live in the city. So my mother got COVID. I've been out here for a while. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get that thing emptied out, have them bring it to my house, my mother's house. I'll start unpacking it. Well, the guys I hire are my guys. They do everything for me around the house. They do like the yards, everything, the snow. So they're moving it. And the guy goes to me literally out of nowhere. He goes, so how's it been going? How's your mom? And I go, oh, she got COVID. He goes, yeah, see, the government's trying to kill her. And I go, I just go, what? And he goes, yeah, I keep telling my kid, it's not really a disease, it's the government. And I just go, okay, so we need to move this box in here because you can't even engage QAnon psychotics. So it's just like, oh, I like you, and then you thought we were friends all of a sudden. It's really freaking bad. So I don't like to invite a lot of conversation. You know what I mean?
No.
Let's just keep it. Let's all just keep to ourselves.
Even my dad, who was he's pretty, I guess, Republican. He watches Fox News a lot. The other day when I went to go visit him at Dutchess, he goes, I'm getting sick of Fox News. He goes, I'm tired of these people. He said, I don't want to listen to anyone. And I go, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Good. Just don't watch anything. Watch The Voice. Stop it, Dad.
When I was done, this is when I was done. I told Greg, this is when I was done with CNN. When COVID hit last year, I'm living with my father. He's 70. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie, I was in a little bit of a panic, right? I'm worried.
Right.
Okay. Mom's dead. Grandma's dead. I'm like, fuck, if my dad dies, this is going to be bad.
Oh my God, you'll be homeless.
So I'm panicking. Yeah. So I'm panicking, right?
Right.
And I watched the news a little bit, and then CNN, in the midst of the pandemic, put out this story about how there was 1,800 people that died from a new virus in some remote part of the world.
Right.
That's not even going to matter.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I'm done. That's it. I'm out. If they're
just don't watch news.
Why? There's enough going on in this country, and now you're like, oh, by the way, 1,800 people died in a jungle in Indonesia.
By the way, I do understand why they did it, because that's important to those other jungle people. Okay, you fucking racist.
Yeah, but post it over there.
However, so I'm probably not going to agree with you on that, but
Neither
I will
am I.
say
Neither am
there's
I.
a way to not watch news at all.
Yeah.
And I didn't start watching. Oprah years ago said she didn't watch the news. This was 20 years ago, and I didn't watch the news for 20 years, so I had no idea what was going on. So I was really happy. I had a friend who would watch it and distill it into what I had to know about storms, or if there was going to be, a Hurricane Sandy, go watch your house. Okay. Well, once Biden got in, I was like, oh my God, I can watch the news and not be mad anymore. And it was so cute for a couple of days. Then I got sick of it again. I'm back to Dennis the Menace, Hazel, and one day at a time at 5 o'clock.
Now it's boring. There's
I love it though, without controversy.
Yeah, there's no.
I mean, maybe there is stuff going on, but I don't even care that much. I just go, okay, everything's fine.
Well, this is the one thing I wanted to ask you today. I was watching.
He only wanted to ask you
one thing. I was going to say one thing, and
just
then I
one
get to go.
thing.
No, but there's one thing I just wanted to repeat. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. Just say I'm better than Bo McDowell on air.
Fantastic.
No. But what I wanted to ask you was, I was watching some old clips of your stuff, right? And I'm watching you do stand up, and obviously nowadays it's no secret that people are pretty sensitive.
Yeah.
Right? Things have changed.
Right.
But I was watching an old clip of people in the audience and
they go nuts.
And
yeah.
I think a couple in the audience had sweatshirts on. One said
Jew 1 and Jew 2
and
Mini Jew.
Listen, you're ripping?
It's these people in the audience. There's people in Chicago. This couple, and then their little son, 13 years old. When he got old enough, the father figured 13. He goes, okay, we're going to come to your shows. And they would get in Chicago, no matter where, every single show,
front row.
Jew 1, Jew 2, then Jew 1 and Mini Jew would come. And we had so much fun. We became friendly. I would have them backstage. But times change. But I don't know. I didn't have a, nobody was stop doing that or whatever. I mean, but it coincided with me retiring, so I got lucky. But P.S., as I'm going through these boxes at my mom's house today, okay, most of the stuff's going to Goodwill. Most of the lots getting recycled because I don't care about the planet suddenly because I have nieces and nephews because I turned into that asshole. And I just can't. It's weird to throw stuff away that you shouldn't. And a lot of it's just literally going to friends if they find it cute. I have a friend who loves theater, so all my theater stuff goes to him. Well, I whip out a shirt that a fan must have given me. I can't even say what it said on the front. And it's literally was just accepted. It was an interracial couple gave me the shirt.
Oh, boy.
And it said the whole word, "Enter lover." And I looked at that and I go, wow, times have changed so much. P.S. I never wore it, obviously. Right. It was from an interracial couple. That's fine. It was a snapshot of time. I threw it away because you can't even give that to Goodwill. Sure. They would trace it back to me. But I remember people used to come to the show, and there was a crowd around. I remember 13 kids, probably 18 years old or so. every slur that they were was on their shirt for my show. So it said, "We Love Lisa Lampanelli" in front, and the back it said Arab, Muslim terrorist, whatever they thought they were, or they actually were, they put on their shirt, and they were so proud. And I have pictures with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was cool as F. Yeah. But I think with me, Rickles, maybe, I don't know who else, you would kind of, I don't know if you'd get a pass today, but I'm not afraid. I mean, I don't want to do it anymore, but I wouldn't be afraid to try if I got broke or something. Like if I was broke, God forbid, if my Jew stole all my money. See, I just threw one in there. No, if my guy stole my, and not even Jewish, that's what's weird. And maybe if I was richer, I could afford one. So that's what I found too, by the way. I found all the TV show pitches. I had sold one to HBO and a show to Fox. And I remember we would go in, you go in, when you pitch a TV show, you go in with notes and you're just like a little book and casually look down, make sure you hit the characters and this and that. And one of them said, I remember the beginning, just to break the ice, and you could do this. It was 25 years ago. I was like, okay, so you met my agent, Nick. He's Italian. Maybe if I get rich someday, I'll have a Jew agent. And like, they'd all laugh, and it's like HBO, and you get a deal. But it's so funny. Like nowadays, you just wouldn't even dream of doing that.
Yeah, do you think those days are over?
I don't care really, because I'm pretty.
I know.
I mean, I hate to say this as a word. It's like co-opting African American or Black culture. I'm pretty woke since the last few years because I have nieces and nephews. So I am horrified by some of the shit going on in the world. So I don't know if I mean, I said when I retired, I didn't want to contribute to anyone feeling sad. So basically, if there's a gay kid in the audience who's going to feel sad and misunderstand what I'm trying to include, that I'm trying to include everybody, why bother?
Yeah.
What am I going to make a trans kid feel bad? Like, what the fuck? Like, what is your life then? What's your legacy? That, oh, she laughed and made money, but some kid felt bad.
But I mean, don't you think with any entertainment, comedy, music, whatever, that's going to be there no matter what?
Sure, but I can control what I say.
Right.
So when I was talking about, I was putting together the show that's going to be at the fairfieldtheater.org. On
April 24th, Saturday.
Nobody's bothering with the fucking plugs except me. I'm used to it. I have to do it. 30 years I'm doing this shit. No, but there'll be a link on Nick's podcast nobody listens to.
Be a link of my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
My Grindr account.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That'd be great if you turned gay.
Turn?
I know,
That's
true.
giving him a lot of credit.
I'm close.
Oh, yeah, when we were talking about putting the show together, I was like, it can be so funny. Like, if you're funny on any subject. So, sure. I mean, that's stuff I don't know about. Like, I couldn't joke about politics or anything like that.
Right.
Or smart people shit. But, like,
smart people
you can just
shit.
kind of, like, do what you do. And then, and we're saying how if an individual, which it has happened, comes up to me and says something hurts their feelings, like, I'll talk to them and we'll have a conversation and it'll be great and I'll apologize. I just don't think anyone is a spokesman for a group. Right. Like, I won't apologize to a group. I'll apologize if Nick seriously, after this, said, you know what, I really, I love you, we're friends, but when you say WOP or Guinea or whatever, I feel like sad, or I feel like it's kind of hurts my feelings. I would be like, wow, man, I'm really sorry. What do you think it's about, or whatever. But the freaking idea that someone's a spokesman for a group, especially years ago when it was just white people getting mad at black jokes. It's like, by the way, let people speak for themselves, first of all, because that's victimization bullshit.
Yeah.
Because people can't speak.
Yeah.
I will never take criticism of gay jokes from a straight guy.
Right.
Suck a dick and then we can talk.
Right.
That's your drop for the show, Nick. Suck a dick.
Whatever you need, man. Whatever you need.
That's going to be his drop for everything. Every single thing.
Drop.
No, but that makes sense. I've always wondered about this with all the social justice and all this stuff coming out. Like all these white kids in Brooklyn who are outraged at everything. I feel like they don't really have black friends.
But I don't blame them for being outraged because I was horrified this summer.
I'm not saying
it was super
I'm not saying
depressing.
They're not justified in any way. I'm just saying I feel like I don't know.
Well, let's see your friend group, basically.
Yeah.
Let's
see your friend group. Let's see what you do.
I don't know. See what you do action-wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't think and I have black friends is your pass to do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's a weird
bad.
thing.
Or I date a black guy, or I have a black wife, or
I
whatever.
have 2 black friends.
Yeah. And it's just like, but just do the right thing for the world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This summer was so depressing. I didn't want my niece and nephew. They live in Cincinnati. I didn't want them to go to the protest by themselves because I'm like this protective person, even though they're like probably could kick ass more than I can because I've never thrown a punch. I'm like a freaking pussy. I'm worse than a gay guy. There you go. Fairfieldtheater.org.
April 24th.
Yes, April 24th. Let's add a second show.
And live streaming. And live streaming.
And live streaming, yeah.
No matter where you are.
So, I went with them to the protest and I was just like, this is exhausting. It is really tiring. It is really emotional and terrible. But it's like, I am privileged enough, all white people, that we get to opt out and not deal with it 24/7. You know what I mean?
No,
like you can't step out of your other skin or your Muslim skin or whatever it is.
No.
So it dawned on me how freaking lucky I am to be able to step back, because when you get tired, you stop. You can't if you're not.
It's one of those things too. Like, I mean, we're never gonna know what it's like to be black in America. Like, we're just never gonna.
Maybe I'll turn into a Muslim. I'll figure that out.
Like, we like sympathize and empathize, but like you hear where I went to college in Springfield, Massachusetts, it's a bad area, right?
But
It's
first of all, shocked you went to college. I mean, honestly, Greg, the guy was a trainer. What
exercise science major.
It took a couple tries.
John
Yeah,
Cena was one of our alumni. So
tries.
Wait, where'd you go?
Springfield College.
Quit bragging. You don't even have to take SATs to get into
their
that
finals
school.
were at the Big E. The Big E were their finals.
Yeah. Springfield.
We invented basketball. No big
Hall
deal.
of Fame.
Yeah, that's it.
No, Springfield
fried
is
Oreos.
not nice. It's not pretty.
But I remember volunteering. We used to do this thing like Humanics Day in Action. We would go out into the community, and you're talking to kids who are like 6, 7, 8 years old. This is elementary schools, and the teacher's like, "Yeah, some kid brought in a knife the other day, and
right.
the other kid had cocaine on him." I'm like, "He's 8."
Well, what's interesting
Cocaine?
about that you mentioned this childhood stuff now, again, I found today, it's weird that it comes up. I snapped, like, after doing journalism after college for a while, I snapped and I was like, I've got to do something. I got to do something different. So I want to be a teacher. So I go to Columbia Teachers College because God forbid I didn't get to like brag that I went to an Ivy League because it's all about ego back
Where'd you
then.
go undergrad? I didn't even know.
Syracuse.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to Columbia because I have to be able to brag. Like, it's not in your head, but you want to be like considered
when you're from this
smart.
area too,
yeah.
it's tough. Yeah.
So I go there and I found the paperwork today. I did throw it out because it wasn't painful or anything. It was just silly. I student taught, and the kids were so funny because one was at an all-Italian school in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Oh, my
So it
God.
was Catholic school ages grades 1 through 8, a computer class or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got all these cute little notes from them saying how much fun it was and thank you for being our teacher and all this stuff. The other school, the other days a week, was at a fucking black school in Harlem, Catholic also, which thank God, but really safe, but a terrible neighborhood. And they were so different. It was hysterical because I remember they would come up to me because I was like, everybody else was a nun. And then there's me.
And there's you.
And they're like, Miss Lampanelli, it was so cute. This little 5th grade girl, like 3 of them come and they go, you know, we got a question about boys because you look like you done stuff. I do? Like, what do I dress like a slut? But it was so funny because I was like, wow, that was not the path that I should have taken in life. Like, I think I lasted like a half a year and I was like, okay, I got to go.
You're like, fuck this.
It all is building to comedy. I was
done.
just putting it off.
And then you started comedy, you said, when you were 30.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
What? I don't even know how or why you got
Dude,
started. Like, what's
it was
sprung
insane. Okay, so I was working after the teaching foray and the back misfire. I said, I got to go and earn some money. So I went back to Rolling Stone because I had worked at Rolling Stone. So I was there and I was in the research department, fact checking and all. So I was like, something was bugging me. I was like, I just want to like try comedy once. Like, but how do you even do it? Like, how do you even try it? Like, I don't get it. And so I go up to this guy, Steve Futterman, my first Jewish friend.
I was gonna say Irish guy.
Yeah. Chief, he was one of the researchers at Rolling Stone, and I go to him, Steve, you know, you're really funny. I want to try comedy, but it seems so hard. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you start? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I don't think you should do that. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's self-centered. All the attention is on you. And I go, well, that sounds like perfect for me because I need to be able to brag and have attention paid to me. So that's when I was lucky enough I was driving to see my first nephew ever being after he was born. So I was driving through Connecticut, and I hear on the radio a commercial for this place called Rent a DJ. And I go, ooh, I bet if I could get up the nerve to talk on a mic at like a party or a wedding, like I bet I could figure out how to be a comic, right? So I'm at this Rent a DJ. I found my report card today from Rent a DJ, and I was DJ of the month because I was that fucking badass. Because I actually was great with the karaoke. I was so freaking silly.
I gotta write that down.
So yeah, I know. It's one of my humble brags, not so humble brags. So I do this Rent a DJ, and then like some miracle, like intervention, I heard about this Michael Jackson guy, this comic who taught us how to put together a little set. And I go, okay, I'm going to try once.
Yeah.
And I found my freaking first tape ever, dude. I got to show it to you because it's really good. Yes, I bombed about the 5th time I was on stage. I was too confident thinking I was a big shot.
Yeah.
That first time it was the universe going, okay, you're going to do this.
That's your very first tape?
It was so good. And I used to watch it once a year, and then I was like, I couldn't find it, but I found it this week, and I pulled it out, and I go, I'm not going to watch it, but it's so cute because it's at 5 minutes, but there's an ad lib in there, and I noticed people high-fiving at the ad lib, which I think made me go, oh,
There's something
I bet
here.
they like the audience stuff.
Right.
So then I ended up doing that.
Your first ever
But it was
tape.
so much fun. Like there was no bad memory about starting. Like even like the last few years when I was doing comedy, it was so much pressure, like tickets, this, that, the other, and staying relevant and all that bullshit. And I was like, oh my God, open micing was so much fun.
How long did you do that for?
Beginning comics don't even get how much fun that is to just be talking about bits. And we'd go to the diner because the Treehouse in Westport used to be where Pancho Villa is or something.
Yeah.
So we would go to the diner after. None of those guys are still doing comedy, but we'd be like, well, Gaffigan and me were the only ones. And then there was a bunch of other guys in Connecticut who don't do comedy anymore. And we would be like saying funny things and helping each other work on bits. And there was a rule, if you don't do that one within like 2 months, it's ours. It's up for grabs, you know? So, but that was fun. Then the pressure starts coming on. And yeah, it's not miserable. It's like, wah. But it's harder when it's a business and money involved and everything.
Yeah.
You know?
When did it start to like
Like be a drain.
when you were like,
I
man,
think
this is
it was the first troubling part was like trying to get on TV for the first time, and thank God for the Friars Club because they were like, she has to be on the Chevy Chase roast. Like you have to put her on because they used to produce the roast.
Yeah.
So they forced my way in there. Thank God it was really, really good. Then I went on Stern, but then I totally snapped at the Cellar that night at the table with a bunch of guys. It's me, Voss, Florentine, Jim Norton, and we're sitting around. Those I like those guys. I don't like anybody else, but I like them. And I just start crying because I'd been on Stern, and that's like the biggest thing you could do.
Yeah, sure.
And I start crying. They're like, what's wrong? You were just on the best radio show that ever existed. I go, yeah, and I don't have a manager. I don't have an agent. I just did this roast. Like I killed, and everybody's noticing. But how the fuck do I get work? And one by one, they all just go, we don't have a manager. We don't have an agent. I don't. And Eddie Ift, this comic from Pittsburgh, goes, you know, I have a friend who, you know, she's looking for new clients. She's in L.A. Let me have her call you. I get a call the next day. They fly in to see me at Caroline's and with the agents from CAA and whatnot. And I had representation then, but that was like a struggle because that felt like, what's next? Like, how do I make this happen? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So thank God for that guy listening. And also it teaches you a lesson about say how you feel because somebody, you can't get it unless you put it out there.
Yeah.
That's not to say you should ever go up to like a headliner and go, hey, dude, like you got somebody to introduce me to, but you show your feelings and you'll be okay. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
Sounds like good advice, Nick.
It does. Greg's been
Yeah.
pushing me quite a bit.
To do what?
Well,
To
just
do
because
what?
I mean, kind of like what you said, like you were way farther along than I was, but just like doing things like you're like, yeah, I did all this cool stuff, but like, how do I, like, there's no roadmap really now,
That's
right?
the problem.
And
There's
like, I'm so used to
a little bit of a map. There used to be like you get on the Tonight Show or you get on this or you get on that. Not that it always worked. Like there's a million
not that-
comics who've
yeah.
been on the Tonight Show that you'll never even, hear of again.
Sure.
But the universe just took care of me.
But don't you think now with all there is a lot of social media and all places you can go in and show your talents. Like, don't you think in some way that that opens it up to people that are trying to build a career, that they have all these places to go.
It does, but there's so many more people doing it. Like there's so many more people wanting to be famous for the wrong reason.
Sure, I mean that's everybody.
So I think basically, if you have in mind money, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
I think basically, I always said to myself, if I could just do this for a living, and I actually meant it. I didn't have that thing where a lot of comics say it but don't mean it. And I go, if I'm $1,000 a week headliner forever, who cares? Like, who cares?
I've had this chat with Bo quite a bit too.
Oh, Bo doesn't have a choice. He's never going to fucking not have a day job.
That's true.
Just kidding.
But,
I love you, Bo.
I wonder how much that gold weighs today.
Yeah. He's weighing gold. You know where he is right now?
No.
He's bored and he's in his tracksuit and he's at the Norwalk Aquarium by himself walking around.
That's so sad. I mean, it's kind of nice in a way because at least it means he's not drinking.
That's what I said. I was like, "Are you all right? Like, you need me to?"
See, I look at it the other way. I sent him a text.
person-
And I'm like, "You drinking again?"
Yeah, no, I'm the type. It's like I like being alone so much. The pandemic has been a blast. I mean, I don't like the people died or anything. I mean, although in this game of things, probably a few bad ones got taken out.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
So a few races got taken out. A few clan members got theirs.
Oh, for sure. I ain't wearing no mask.
But
dead.
I like being by myself. So him walking around an aquarium doesn't worry me. I think it's kind of nice that he'll at least get out of the house.
Yeah.
Burn some calories.
I thought it was just.
We've talked about this on his podcast. The only reason I make fat jokes about Bo is because he's lost weight. Like you can't.
He lost weight.
If he was that pathetic fat guy, you just wouldn't. Like it's just not cool.
He's actually. I work with a guy who went to high school with Bo, and he was like, "Bo's really athletic," and I was like, "No, I know.
Yeah,
I
he's
just like to make fun of him. Like I just like I'm sure he is, but." I'm just gonna keep this going.
You have
mean?
to. You have to.
But he even said I was like, dude, you can't lose too much weight or else your material doesn't work.
I don't agree.
Really?
Because this is your problem, Nick. You always talk, but you don't know. Actually, you don't always talk and don't know. But comics.
No, it's true.
I'm going to tell you exactly what my comic friend who was way ahead of me in the beginning said. You'll learn more from listening than talking. New comics are always yapping. First of all, they always are like, I don't know if Seinfeld's that funny, man. Or whoever. It's like, just shut up. You sound so dumb. No one cares about your opinion. You're fucking stupid and you're a newbie and any beginner should not judge it. It's like me as an actor going, yeah, Kate Blanchett was pretty good in that one, but in The Queen, she sucks a big hog. No, it's fucking great. Like, you just shut up. Also, they're always like, well, it's not going to work if you do this. It's like, you don't know that because I lost over the 100 pounds. I was just as fucking funny. Yeah. Yes, I'm gifted and Bo is not. However, I don't think appearance ever can really hurt you. I don't, because your material, you're going with personality, not looks.
It's just about exactly.
So maybe you learned something today to be quiet.
I always learn something when I talk to you.
His CPAP joke will work even if he's skinny. People who are skinny.
He actually doesn't have sleep apnea, but
doesn't he? Oh, he doesn't.
No,
he has apnea. Doesn't he have sleep apnea?
He has something. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's
something going on.
We know
with
he's
him.
got something.
Yeah.
But so now you've obviously been retired for a little bit, but now we have this show
that
you're doing.
Wow, that's
Fairfield.
Well, because what I did,
know
Nick,
about it.
was after I lost the weight, I wrote this play called Stuffed that had a lot of stories about food and body image stuff. It was off Broadway for 2 runs, and then I was touring it a little. Then COVID happens, right?
Yeah.
So I said I was really having a good time during the play, but only I found during the Q&A part where people knew I was coaching people and would be like, oh, what do I do about this food thing? What do I do about my body image issue? What do I do about this boyfriend thing or changing my life because you retired and all this stuff? So I'm like, that's what the show needs to be, is when I'm having fun, because that lights it up. But then also there's these stories that are so funny that happened, in the last few years about food, the business, retirement, everything. So it's like a conversational show that's really funny, plus then the audience stuff with the coaching. And then I do this big roast at the end that I'm not going to say who it's about, but it's people you wouldn't expect. So it's really interesting because they kind of laugh their way through, but they're also going to be like, oh, that's really true. Like, it's insightful.
Does the show change from from venue to show to show?
Yeah, kind of like, because the audience asks questions that you can't see coming.
Sure.
and then also being interviewed. Like if you ever watch the Francis, what was the one that was just on Scorsese interviews Fran Lebowitz? It's like a 7-part thing on Netflix, and he interviewed her all over the country. Spike Lee interviewed her, Alec Baldwin, all these people. So it's always a little different because you never know the chemistry and what's going to happen. So I like that. Yeah. I don't, again, when we were talking about acting before we started taping, I can't work with directors or writers that make you stick to a script. That's my failing. So I can't do a show that's scripted.
Right.
It's kind of loose ideas, and you kind of know where they're going to go.
Right.
But there's ad-libs all the time.
So the questions that the audience asks, is that screened in advance? Like,
nope.
Are you going to know? So
Nope,
it's just,
don't
you
care.
have no idea.
Because on my feed, I'm better than
scripted.
Yeah. Like, there'll be probably some people who write in advance who don't want to raise their hand. But, dude, when I do this, the past few years when I've done the Q&A, I mean, I'm there longer sometimes during that than the regular stuff, the regular performance, because they're like won't not ask stuff. So I love that.
Is the show that's in Bucks County in a couple weeks different than the show that's going to be in Fairfield?
No, it's the same thing. I changed the name though because I was like, I like the name better that we have for years, which is Sit Down and Shut Up. Lisa Lampanelli, Sit Down and Shut Up at the fairfieldtheater.org.
on April 24th, 2021.
Is it Theatre? T-R-E?
No, it's theater.
No. Spelling wise on the fucking internet.
I think it's theater. I don't think
it better be R-E because Bo said it was R-E.
Don't.
You're going off of Bo said?
Oh, man, he's not with the spelling. He's walking around with the mammals who are underwater in the aquarium.
You sent me a video of like a turtle. I was like, cool.
You know what?
Oh, you're right. It is R-E.
Oh, thank God. Okay, and I laughed because these sea turtles, let me tell you something. You're going to laugh. Okay, this whole environmental stuff I was never into because I was like, I don't have kids. I don't care.
Right.
Well,
I have kids and I don't care.
I know, but I snapped, though. I ended up caring, and it makes me so mad. I was, my nephew Blaze, my first nephew was getting married, right? So his fiance, I was like, like for her bachelorette, because they're very millennial, clean living, they're not like assholes and want to do crazy shit. I said, I'll take you all to Vegas. So I put them all up at the Venetian. It was beautiful. We went to Chippendale. So we did all this funny, like cliche stuff, but not rude, like not all drunk or anything. Right. So we're sitting at this brunch. And like I drink a ton of soda and iced tea and stuff, always with the plastic straw.
Yeah.
So the nephew, as a joke, goes, plastic straws, sea turtles, and I go, fuck you, man. And he goes, I don't know, that video was pretty graphic. I couldn't watch it. And I literally, I get choked up now. I can't believe it. I go into the bathroom and I go, oh my God, like, suppose that was my dog. See what a fucking pussy I am now? And I just go, suppose that was my dog getting choked.
Yeah.
I come out, you're going to laugh. I come out, I said, take this fucking straw away. I go, I don't like it, and I'm not using them. Well, it's worn off because I have one now in front of you. But at my house, it's all paper straws. I threw out an entire garbage bag of plastic straws. It was so
Why do you have so many straws?
I enjoy a beverage. I'm constantly having a beverage. I'm constantly having. Well, what happens is when you
big cleaning, when
you have weight loss surgery, you have to drink a lot. You subsist on a lot of liquids. So I'm constantly drinking. It's either like some protein shake, whatever. So I throw all these straws away to the recycle. So then I said, well, if I'm throwing the fucking straws away, I might as well recycle. So it took me to 55 to actually recycle, but I guess it's worth it. Why not?
I think so.
It's almost like
I've been doing it.
Like, you know what it is? Physicians have the first do no harm code, and I'm like, I'm really not doing any good for the world, but at least I'm not going to harm it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think even in life, like, if I never do another show, if I never do another charity event, if whatever, let me not harm anybody.
So I'm curious, is your nephew's real name Blaze?
Blaze, Blaise. It was a saint. And one of my grandfather's middle name was Blaze.
That's very
so Blaze is cool as fuck. He's married to a girl. This is so wild, dude. She basically, this is how you live your life. She is an awesome chick. She went to the Boston University grad program for TV writing. She's in LA. She's like, I don't know. It's really being a PA, getting in a writer's room. It's not really for me. And she's sitting around with a friend of hers one day, and they're like, let's do a podcast. She like sometimes tweets out or Instagrams the picture. Yeah. And she's like, okay, let's try it. It's got more than 100 million downloads now. And they do huge theaters.
What's it called?
And that's why we drink.
Okay.
And it literally put together, it almost combined by accident everything millennials love, which is ghosts, paranormal, crime, drinking wine, milkshakes, and the friends trans. She couldn't see. This is what I'm telling all you comics listening. You can't try to create that magic. It just had to happen. Yeah. So you don't try to go, hey, let me find a trans person. Hey, let me find like what subject are my people interested? You do what is interesting to you and then see if it works. If it doesn't, that's okay. So that took off. So one day she says to me, she goes, Christine, you have to remember your next venture to do it from that place of like just loving it. And she goes, yeah, but what if I don't think of anything? And I go, you will. So if we just are open to what we're supposed to be doing and not force it, it's going to work.
Yeah.
That's why when you go, who cares about the money? Let's just have fun. I think that's when it happens if you work hard. Yeah. They couldn't have done it if they didn't tape every week and promote and all that stuff.
That's the big, because you got to be consistent.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. But yeah, that makes...
It's wild because comics... Some want to work really hard, some don't, but they think the TikTok video is going to make them famous or whatnot. I don't know what happens. I think if you just do it and then see what happens.
Well, what do you like for these guys who are all trying to find some kind of path in comedy?
Right.
Like, besides writing and continuing to write and practice, like what should they do, right? Because we see it a lot with all the local comedians because we're doing shows. And I try to tell them, I'm like, you can't just get up and do 15 minutes. If you want to really do something and like Bo, who obviously more than anything wants to be a comedian, like you need to get your ass into the city when you can.
I think the city used to be and is one of two places to make shit happen. Now there's all the other venues, like you say, with the online and everything. But I mean, in my day, the path was the city or LA. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much it.
But still working as much as you possibly can.
Oh yeah, we used to do like 8 sets a night, running around to the clubs. That's hard though.
Yeah, no, of
course. I mean, it's hard to get into those good clubs, and to be seen by the right people. And it's just like, the more older I get, the less I know. It's like no one can follow it the way I did it, or Amy Schumer, or whatever. Amy Schumer said to me one day, the reason she has a career is because I turned down the Charlie Sheen roast. So basically, if that hadn't happened, she would have gotten famous anyway because she's good.
Yeah, she's good.
But that's like
why'd you turn it
what
down?
She thinks, because he was mentally ill, and I don't think you roast people who are fucked up.
Right.
It's just too sad. Yeah. So, and also, there's like a couple roasts I turned down that one because I was like, there's something wrong with him. That's not morally right. So I didn't do it. But then I turned down a couple that I knew nobody would watch, and there's so much work to a roast. It's like 30 days of hell that basically I was like, well, nobody's going to watch it. It's not going to be worth me putting the time in.
Right.
Yeah.
So like Bob Saget and Joan Rivers, I knew nobody's watching those, and nobody did.
Yeah.
And I go, good. I picked right.
What was the best one?
The one the one that's been viewed the most, I think, I don't know, of the ones I did, the one viewed the most is either Jeff Foxworthy or Larry the Cable Guy, because they have such big followings.
Right.
Pam Anderson, my manager, would always say this. I loved her because she manages Jeff and Larry, and she goes, I go, but didn't more people watch the Pam Anderson roast? And she goes, oh, more cool people watch the Pam Anderson roast. She goes, that's why your audiences started selling out. That's when I started selling out places. I'd show up and they'd go, it's sold out. I'm like, why? Oh, the Pam Anderson roast. Oh, really? I didn't even know it was on. So, but Jeff and Larry's had tons of viewers.
Right.
I don't know about the recent ones, but.
Which one did you like the best? Like you actually being on it?
They're all hell. It's the hardest job in the world. It's too much prep. It's so difficult because most of the time, if you're me, you have to go last because the pussies won't follow you and they make you go last.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
I would always like, I probably never told anybody. Nobody listens to this anyway, so I could say it. I just demand
just
more
my
fucking,
dad. My dad
yeah,
listens.
I demand more money. I'd be like, good. Jeff Ross doesn't want to fucking do it. Let him work for the shitty money and double mine, and I'll go last.
Do you write it? Did you write everything yourself for all yours?
No,
Did
we
you
all
write
have like teams, and everybody has a team, but they're like your own guys.
Right.
So like basically like me, Don Jameson, Joe Bartnick, and this guy Mike Morse would really work hard. And then at first, this is really funny. My first original like writing partner was this guy Scott Dunn. He's hilarious, best writer, wrote some of my best stuff. He turns born again Christian.
Oh boy.
And so I lose him, but he had introduced me to Jameson and Bartnick, and so it's all fine. So I asked my manager, I go, you ever hear from Scott Dunn? She goes, oh yeah, he and Foxworthy write together. Foxworthy's not born again or anything, but he's clean.
Yeah.
So it's perfect. So Scott gets to do what he wants to do, and I get to do what I want, and Jeff gets jokes. But for a while, this was great. Larry would call me once in a while, Dan Whitney, Larry the Cable Guy, and he'd go,
He's been on the show.
yeah, I can't believe that. He must be so bored. Well, he has a wife and kids, so he's probably stir crazy. He would say to me, he'd call me with a joke once in a while to use, and they were so hilarious that I would use them. They were super racist that he couldn't get away with.
Right.
But then I find out that Foxworthy used to call him and give him jokes that were
no
too
way.
edgy for Foxworthy. So that was really cool.
That's
so we all
awesome.
kind of went down the chain. Some that Larry gave me were just too much. Like I couldn't even do them.
Really?
Even me.
Wow. Do any of the celebrities, not comedians, who come into these roasts? Obviously, I would assume everything is written for them, but have they come in and be like, "No, I'm going to write my own stuff"? Or
I don't
try?
think so. I wasn't in on those conversations, but I doubt it. Like, in other words, same Maureen McCormick
Right.
comes in. The Comedy Central staff writers write their stuff,
Yep.
which is why sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Most of the time, if a celebrity kills, like her, Snoop, Betty White, it's because they came and rehearsed.
Right. What about
And
Martha
they got
Stewart?
it in their cadence.
Like
Yep, they got it. She got it in her. She didn't run in at the last minute.
Right.
Like the situation when he did the fucking Trump one.
I was hoping you
didn't
bring
rehearse.
that one up. That was bad.
Yeah, didn't even know how to read a teleprompter. And they were like, you don't have a suit? And he's like, no, they had to run out and get him a suit. I mean, this is how entitled people are.
Right.
I used to have to work for a month on the jokes, a month on the dress, a month on... I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
So what's good about it is I don't think I'll ever do one again. They're just too much,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they have a lot of help.
So now for you, this type of show where you're doing where it's more like helping people, talking to people, is this way more fulfilling than comedy?
It's more
Or it's different
fulfilling now.
Yeah.
But it's also like not so fulfilling that I am desperate to do it. Like it's fun.
You're right.
But I enjoy sitting home a lot. I don't walk around a fucking aquarium. Like I enjoy my dogs doing nothing. Like I love not working. But also the more me and Gus work on putting the show together, the more psyched I get because I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be fun.
How'd
to
you
tell
get with
that
Gus?
story. What's that?
How'd you get with Gus?
I saw him. He remembers, but I don't. Like I went to see Bo do a set in the city when I somehow got co-opted as being his friend.
Yeah, when
I don't
you
know
told
how
me
that
that
happened.
I was like, really?
Well, my niece.
Is this a Make-A-Wish thing?
My
or-
other niece works with him or worked with him in Indeed, and
That's
she's
too
like,
bad.
"Oh, my friend Bo wants to have your opinion." I said, "Oh, I'll go." So I think Gus was performing that night too,
Right.
and I said, "Oh, you're really funny." And then when I decided to do a Q&A type show, I'm like, he's affable. Likable. He's a good guy. So I coached him a little with his writing and his delivery. And I go, I like him enough to try this.
Right.
And then we just got along really good.
Yeah, he's
so that's
awesome.
good.
Gus is great.
Well, what's great about Gus too, I told him because I'm enemies with most of my openers from the past, and he's like, "How do I not become enemies with you?" And I go, "Be on time." I have a huge hot button for time. Yeah. And I said, "Stop. Don't ever mistake kindness for weakness with me."
Right.
Because I may buy dinner 50 times, but the 51st one, you better fucking grab that check. That's an example that's stupid, but I don't have to do any of this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know what? And also, I noticed in that Fran Lebowitz show, if you watch it, the best interviews are her and Scorsese because they're friends. and he always lets her win.
Right.
She's always the funny one. So I said to Gus, I know you're a comic, but we don't banter, and you get a kick out of me. You never look shocked.
Yeah, you're the.
It's just like, you looking shocked does not help.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not shocked at anything. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
And I think also having a gay guy is really just, the gays have always understood me. Look at Nick.
That's
Totally.
Here we are.
I mean, look at Nick. Are you
Nick, you're getting everyone's hopes up about being gay.
Dude, Gus has had to follow me multiple times, like Connecticut Comedy Festival, like stand-up New York shows, and I have that joke about, lactose intolerant being gay or whatever.
Yeah.
And every time he's like, by the way, I'm going to say this thing every time I go up after you. And he goes up and he goes, yeah, Nick's trying to convince you guys he's not gay. I mean, look at his pants. Like every time.
There you go. Oh, I have a advice for you about that gay joke.
Yes.
Because I forgot to tell you the other night. Okay, so your father says, he goes, here's your sandwich, or what does he say?
No cheese for you, and he does the.
What does he say before that?
Um,
He comes out of the place.
Gets me a breakfast sandwich, throws it to me, and goes.
Okay, he throws it to me, and he says, no cheese for you, and then the hand. You see, you have to take at least 3 seconds and make the hand bigger. Because sometimes, because it's not out loud, the audience misses it. And they're like, what? Why would he say he's gay? What? Why?
Right.
So you have to make them listen to that by having the pause before. Okay? So here's your sandwich.
No cheese for you.
No, excuse me. Yeah. No, here's your sandwich. No cheese for you. 3, 4. And have them do a gay face, like a faggoty face. Like,
I'm in.
Have you
so
seen
what
Nick's
I'm saying
face?
is, you see how like all that little stuff, you get a bigger laugh.
Yeah.
Because that's all it counts. And it's not worth rushing it. Because I just don't think, I think maybe in your mind you're like, oh, I can't do that too gay, or else it'll be people thinking I'm making fun of gay. You're imitating your father. I doubt your father was subtle.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I truly think he did fag hand really big.
Yeah.
Which Duchess does he work at?
Monroe.
I go there so often.
He's going to listen to this because he listens. He only knows how to listen on YouTube on his laptop, which is weird.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That's all he knows how to do. So now he's going to listen to this, and he's going to, now you could go in there and be like, hey, remember me?
Hey, Dad, listen, next time I do my mobile order, could you tell those assholes that means I need it fast? Because the drive-through is so fucking slow at Duchess.
Well, my dad, you got to, my father, who was a business owner for years in the food industry, I don't see him get mad, really.
Right.
The anger that comes out of him at work when things aren't running properly or people are being lazy.
Because he knows how to do it.
Well, he's a 70-year-old man who's had a business. Life hasn't gone his way, but he's there, right? And he's there with teenage kids, and he's like, why the fuck aren't they doing? Like,
I get it. Because you know what? Nobody cares. Hey, Nick's father, what's his first name?
Bob.
It's a terrible name.
Robert, but Bob.
Robert, nobody cares. These kids, they don't care. They're white and entitled. Fuck them.
He said it all the time. He worked at Ace Hardware in Monroe, too. He says, these kids suck. Even my father, this is no lie, in his bagel shop in New York. And I was like, he had a lot of guys like Carlos that worked for him, right? Like dudes like that. And I was like, Dad, you don't really have any white people. He goes, white people are lazy.
100%.
He goes, I don't hire them. Ever.
Well,
they're lazy.
Well, listen, if you ever go to this drive-through in Westport, the Starbucks drive-through in Westport,
it's always packed.
It's always packed. That's why you call your order and do the mobile thing.
It's insane.
But dude, it's nobody. I said to a friend once, I go, these fucking kids who work at Westport, Starbucks, they're so entitled. She goes, no. She goes, you think any kid in Westport actually works?
Yeah, no shot.
So they don't, it's all kids from elsewhere.
Yeah,
so,
no, none of those kids
I
work.
cannot
I see them come to the
it.
gym with Alfa Romeos.
Do you spend a lot of time in Westport, or are you coming all the way to Westport for the
No.
Starbucks?
I used to, and then I turned on Lower Fairfield County. I hate it.
You're done.
I think after the summer I got really sick of rich white people. I really did. I'm racist. I'm racist, and I'll say it, and it's a failing I have. But you come at me with rich white guy attitude, and that's the only people I yell at anymore.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I screamed at a guy the other day, Nick knows this, and I said, you're entitled white fucking little C. Why am I editing myself for this stupid show? And I go.
Where was it? Where'd that happen?
At my storage facility that I
You probably
emptied out
can't tell
yesterday.
that story. Right?
Yeah, but I yelled at him because he freaking was like, "Oh, you're taking too long." And I go, "And you're a little white fucking cunt who's untitled." I said, "So you need to shut
hear
the
the story
fuck up."
after the
Yeah, it
full
was
thing.
big.
Yeah,
And it was all just fucking crazy.
We'll talk
so,
after.
But I wouldn't have yelled at him if he was blue collar. I wouldn't have yelled at him if he was black, Puerto Rican, nothing. But he pushes my buttons. Because of the rich white men, and I get it, and I know it's racist, but I don't care. If I'm against them, I don't think they're suffering. Like, I don't think anybody's really that upset.
No.
So, believe it or not, tomorrow, my mechanic, god damn it, is in fucking Westport. So I'm struggling with it, honestly, because I hate it. So I go, what do I do? The guy's blue collar. He's in Westport, though. I have bad memories of that area. I'm going to try it once to see if I'm not triggered. Which I hate triggering. But I don't want to be mad at the people waiting in the diner, that I'm waiting in the diner with, because you wait a couple hours.
Oh yeah.
It all fucking sucks. I need a guy in Shelton, Trumbull. I need somebody in not rich people basic land.
I'll meet you in Dutchess tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm totally
Monroe.
going. Why aren't I having you guys pick me up? I'm taking Ubers like a fucking
I'm
jerk
not even kidding.
off.
I'm not saying this is
Can
on
you
camera.
take my?
I would do that.
Can
shit
you
for
take
you.
my stuff to recycling?
Yeah, where?
I don't know. Find out.
All right.
I got 5 boxes of fucking shit in my car.
I'll
I
just
don't
put
know
it in
where
my
to
condo. They have the recycling there. Just and
Do they have
take
like
it.
a big dumpster?
They have a few, like 2 or 3 big, like blue recycling bin, like garbage cans almost.
But
You just
dude,
put-
it's a lot. This is like 30 years of
I
my
mean,
career.
This is for a whole condo complex.
What is
so,
it?
I mean,
Yeah, you can fill that shit up.
Recycling, you mean like take it to the dump?
Is that what you do?
I
mean, I do. No, no. What happens is, okay, so my mom's house, she got the big garbage can for the garbage, the big recycle one. I called the Colonial Sanitation. I said, hey, I need these recycling once a week. They say, we don't do it. We'll drop you off a second recycle thing. Every week, I need at least 3 because of, clearing stuff out. Yeah. So I need you to take my recycling someplace so it's not my problem anymore. I think that's the least you could do for this coaching. See, this is what happens. Why I make enemies of everybody. They go,
happen.
"Oh," and they get semi.
Believe me, they don't like me either.
Well, they take a liberty, and then they go, oh yeah, she I got famous, and I used to take her recycling. What a cunt! But you know what? At this point, I think you deserve to take my recycling in. I think Bo deserves to take my recycling.
he won't do it. I will.
Recycling.
I think I've done more for them than you have.
Greg's gonna have a fucking heart attack.
My head might explode.
No, you know I haven't. It's just fun to say that.
I know.
But no,
waiting
see,
for
that's
it to-
all.
I
See
was
how
waiting
much
for it
I
to
care about
turn.
the fucking earth. I don't care about it enough to get arrested like Jane Fonda.
But are they bottles or is it like
boxes.
sweatshirts?
No. Sweatshirts are garbage. They are boxes of like articles, newspapers, every article written on me. I mean, this is 30 years of stuff.
You don't want any of it.
Scripts, like all this stuff.
Done.
It's you're okay again, being a fucking woke asshole. Anything that didn't have something printed on the back, I use as a printer in the printer now. But guess how many boxes I have of printer paper now?
Many.
Okay, you know those bankers boxes? 6. Full to the top. I'll never buy paper the rest of my life. Not because I'm cheap, because I remember at Syracuse University, it's attached, there's a forestry college. So the forestry major I lived with, in a house, a bunch of people lived together in senior year. He was a forestry major, so he was way into the environment in the 80s, like early 80s. And he would get letters from friends when people used to write letters and write them back on the back of it. Like a real hippie, like the guys who run this studio with their incense. So I never understood that. I said, who cares about paper? What are you, a fucking idiot? I don't know. For some reason, it really feels bad to toss it out. I'm not stupid. I don't sit there taking staples out. Like, those go. Like, I have my limits.
How much paper stuff did you have that
Dude,
you accumulated 6
think about
bankers
it.
boxes?
Yeah, but that's only
of
for
single
this,
sheet paper.
this week.
What?
Jesus.
Because think about a 30-year career saving everything because I'm very sentimental.
My mother still has my teething ring from when I was a baby in her freezer.
Dude, well, that's weird in the freezer.
She's moved like 7 times.
Okay, I get it, though, because I found today birthday cards, and I'll never throw them out, from age 6 up. Everything is adorable.
Your birthday cards?
Yep, adorable.
Make a coffee table book.
They're so cute. It's like, my parents, my sister and brother with their little handwriting and stuff. So I save everything. And there's this thing I'm doing now. There's a book called The Sensitive Person's Guide to Decluttering, because they're like, you love everything so much that even if it's organized, it's still too much. So now it's the weeding out part. But the comedy stuff was easy. One thing from every event. I have 14 thank you notes from Jay Leno because I was on the Tonight Show 14 times. I need one. I need the one funny one. The other ones are just thanks for coming back, but it's a little caricature. Save one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting what you kind of get rid of because your ego isn't involved anymore.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm not willing to let go of like cards for my parents or why should you have to?
Yeah.
When I'm dead, let the fucking grandkids do it.
That's what
you kept all that stuff at your mom's house?
No, this was all in storage from my house in Fairfield.
Oh, right.
Because I had a house that was too big for me, but it had so many closets that it didn't look like it was a hoarder. Now it looked it. So now, I'm so proud of myself.
Did
so
you
much
spend
of it's
much
gone.
time in that house?
All the time. Because I quit comedy and then I was like home all the time. It was great. I loved it till I didn't.
Did you ever regret retiring from comedy?
No. Here's the thing. Everybody goes, my sister's funny too, because she asked that question about, do I regret selling the house in Fairfield? I don't do anything till I'm absolutely ready. Right. So I never have second thoughts. I notice when I don't like it anymore and get rid of it. So when I noticed the house in Fairfield was too big and stupid, I was like, get rid of it. When I noticed like that I didn't like comedy anymore, I retired. When I didn't like being married anymore, I got divorced. Like, you don't fucking stay too long at the fair.
I'm just curious about that. So obviously you spend most of your adult life in comedy, right? So what woke you up one day and said, I don't like doing comedy anymore?
You don't wake up one day. You notice, they say death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Right.
You notice every flight's a drag and that you hate your openers because and you don't really hate them, but you hate them because they say something, or you're mad at that one audience guy, or you hate all the press you have to do and this and that. And it's just like, why don't I just notice I don't like it anymore? And I wanted to retire before people would notice during shows that I was hating it.
Right.
So I got out of my marriage before I hated the guy. I think you just get out before you hate it. That's what I said when I retired on Stern. Don't wait till you hate it. Just fucking stop it. If you open your fucking eyes, this is the problem. People, they walk through life sleepwalking.
Sure. When
you're awake, you go, that doesn't feel as great.
Did Stern know you were coming in to retire?
Yeah, but he kept it secret. It was awesome because he goes, I had emailed them and I'm like, I want to announce it here because Howard will take it seriously. And they're like, let me think. So Gary comes back and he goes, how about you do your last roast ever? Roast of Ronnie. Sure. And we'll get Nikki Glazer. We'll get, who else? It was Brewer maybe, I think. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. I go, well, is Howard taking this seriously? He goes, yes, because he's struggling with, should I retire? Mm-hmm. So that'll be really good. So then I was so lucky because then everybody, that day I got a call from Dr. Drew, Dr. Oz, Wendy Williams, like all the people who like me and were like, come on our show. We have to talk about, because it's such a big change. Sure. No one gets out of show business.
Yeah, certainly.
And I'm really not in it anymore. Like I freaking love the little show, but it's a little fucking show. Gives a shit. Yeah. I made the jerking off motion. Because it's fun, but it's your identity isn't wrapped up in it anymore.
Sure.
I never get recognized anymore, except when it's inconvenient for me. Like yesterday at the storage place with the QAnon mover.
Yeah.
A gay guy happens to be at the storage place.
Of course,
that place, everything happens at that fucking place. And I see him and he goes, I was going to ask him to move his truck. And I jump out and I'm like, hey. And he goes, oh my God, hi. And I was like, well, he either thinks I'm fabulous or he's a big cornholer. Yeah. He goes, I'd love to move my truck for you. And I was like, okay, girl, calm down. Yeah. So I only get recognized with no makeup and it's totally inconvenient. But that's okay. It always works.
I always wonder at BJ Ryan's when we're sitting there if the owners know who you are.
I have no idea. It's
They're
really
like, who's
funny.
this lady giving them comedy advice? Like, I don't know if they know or not.
Well, it used to be like where it was just like, people I was eating with would be like, you've been spotted. And I'd be like, yeah, no, I haven't. Like, I haven't been spotted. But this was when I had the longer hair and was on the roast and all that. Now it's like my appearance changed so much. I don't think so, but some people kind of do. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I find it, well, I don't yell at people as much except that one guy. But like.
That was a little justified.
That was justified.
That was very much justified.
It's like my voice. Oh my God, the best recognition story ever was, okay, this is why I hate white people. Okay, so, and this is not why, but this is like, shows me I'm racist against white people. Okay, I'm on a plane and I'm already pretty famous. So, okay, it's me. Of course, I'm in first class because I'm a badass baller. So here's me. Nobody was next to me, thank God. Ugh. A gay couple right in front of me. And this is years ago, when the roasts were huge. And I notice this nanny comes on the plane with a very ugly baby. And I don't think babies are ugly. I'm not like, it's a really, it had like a face that you just knew she would grow up eventually and look like Sophia Loren. But I bet Sophia Loren was fucking ugly as a baby.
Yeah.
So she had a big nose. And I said, oh, poor thing. Well, I don't sleep before a flight because I'm like, I have to get up at 5. Who cares? But I'm not annoyed. I'm in a good mood. I must have been flying to do something fun. And I notice the mother comes on, and I make up in my head that she's a Westport fucking white rich
you make
cunt.
her your enemy.
No, I make
immediately
it because she doesn't even look at that goddamn kid, and she has a cute kid with her, a toddler. All right, so she's right now. I'm annoyed. So the nanny's with the ugly kid. She's behind me with the cute little pretty one with the blonde with the ringlets. So I'm instantly have my ass up about this mom not being with the ugly kid. So what does that say about me psychologically? So the flight's happening. And, oh my God, this is the day before September 11th, so you could yell at people. Okay, so the nanny, poor thing, that poor baby is sobbing and screaming. And I'm not annoyed for a change, and I just start feeling really shitty for that kid. Dude, I start looking out the window, and I get tears in my eyes, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like me being ignored. Oh my God. So I'm like not even thinking that far down the road. I'm just going, I'm triggered by this. I'm so mad at that mother. I literally turn around and I go, listen, I go, listen, postpartum Westport cunt. I go, get your fucking ass. Like, listen, that loud. Get your fucking ass. And I have tears in my eyes, but I wasn't crying. I go, that's your goddamn baby. You fucking moron sitting here with the cute kid. That don't work for me. I said, you fucking go up there and you come for your goddamn baby. Well, that's mental. I don't care, though. I kind of stand by it. Yeah. She jumps up, and of course, I make up. It's a flight out of LaGuardia. How do I know she's from Westport? Yeah. It's my sick head. She jumps up, grabs that fucking baby. Silence. I said, this cunt. So I'm looking out the window. I'm very upset. I'm crying, right? The fucking gay guys look back, and they go, oh, gosh, we thought that was you. But then we heard your voice, and we knew it was you. Like, fucking assholes. I go, yeah, you had to make me be the one who says something. Like, literally, it's terrible. So, put it this way. I don't do that no more. But I remember,
because she hasn't flown in a year.
That's the problem, too. Well, that's what happened, too. I was on a plane once, and I make up lies in my head about myself, too, so that I could lie convincingly. So, okay, I had a show in Rochester, New York at the deaf school. That's a whole nother story.
What?
The deaf college. So anyway,
it was
there was a protest, and they got over it and they liked me. Anyway, okay. So I'm in Rochester, and I forget that when you're on a plane, you're supposed to only have 2 carry-ons, and it was a plane without a first class, so I always buy 2 seats. So in my opinion, I get 4 carry-ons, right? They don't like that. Anyway, so I pare it down to 2 and a paper bag with a pillow in it. So I make up in my head. I go, okay, if this fucking peanut throwing sky cunt asks you anything, you say you got a medical issue that you need that pillow for. So I forget that the pillow is in a bag and it's an empty bottles in it. Just an empty, a water bottle, nothing big. It couldn't hurt you is what I'm saying.
Right.
I put it up. The bottle falls. It's maybe like this. Nothing in it. No, 2 ounces. Oh, some guy, old guy, hits him in the face. But it was nothing. It was a brush. And he goes like this. He goes, oh, my mouth. I go, dude. I go, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Cause like, old people remind me of my dad. So I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And like, I already apologized like 8 times. And then he goes, oh, and he wouldn't stop. He goes, and it's attracting attention. And he goes, I just had mouth surgery. And I go, you know what? If I'd have hit that bottle hit you in the cunt, you would have said you had cunt surgery. So shut the fuck up. I go, you're a fucking liar. Okay, so I make it through the flight. I try not to kill anybody. I take the pillow down. As I'm walking off the plane, the fucking sky whore, as I'm walking off, she had to wait, goes,
how to ruin your trip.
She goes, by the way, you were only supposed to have 2 carry-ons. And I convinced myself,
at that point,
I had convinced myself in my head that I had a medical issue because I believed my lie. So I look at her and I go, and tears jump to my eyes, go, Miss, I have a medical issue that I needed a pillow to sit on. And I really feel horrible that you shamed me right now in front of other people. She literally was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I go, I'll let it go, but I have to tell you, would you like some constructive criticism? And she's like, yeah. And I go, you had a very brusque manner on this flight. Is everything okay? And she goes, oh, it's been a couple of bad days. I go, I know. But when you come to work, I feel you should shake it off. I said, this is something you might want to work on. And she goes, I appreciate that feedback. I go, thank you. I took my fucking pillow and my fake hemorrhoid and I was out of there. Dude, that's a fucking shit when you start convincing
what
yourself.
About my day ruining someone else's?
Yeah. Oh my God. Is that insane?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever told that story before. That's a great ass story.
Yes.
From the bottle and that. Oh, it's all over. I once saw some cunt like she's trying to put the thing in the overhead. Yeah. And she literally smashed some old guy in the head with the bag. And she didn't even apologize. I'm like, it's a 2-ounce bottle. You're a little bitch. Well, especially after
you said you can't act, but that was if you.
Yeah, but after you apologize several times, somebody shouldn't keep piling on like how in pain they are. What did that serve?
No, I get you.
Like, did that help me knowing that about you, sir? So I feel even worse.
It's like, no, we got
a little bitch.
I
hope he's dead.
I just tell people on planes I sell insurance.
Well, no, that's what you do. Florentine had said, he goes, when you, like comics hate when people ask them what they do, and then they'll do one of 2 things. I never heard of you. All
right, that's fun.
Which hurt your feelings. Or, you know what I hate? Chris Rock, he's not funny. And it's like, so now we're in a discussion. And Florentine said, I sell insurance. Yeah. Are you interested?
That's exactly. What's crazy about that? I was on a plane. This is like 15 years ago, and I spent half my life on planes up until a year ago. And I sat next to a guy who we just started a conversation. He started talking to me, and it was fine conversation. And he said to me, he's like, I never really talk to people on planes. And he's like, usually I'll sit down, someone will start talking to me, and he's like, the first thing I say is, I sell life insurance. How is your coverage?
Yeah.
And the guy wound up being the CEO of some enormous hedge fund.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that is genius.
It's so smart.
So I do that all the time. And it stops every conversation dead in its tracks.
And honestly, I never engage unless somebody's really cool, and I want to talk. So I have no problem just saying, could you please be quiet? Like, I don't want to talk to you. Because I think you just hit a certain age where you just go, no offense, but I'm really trying to study this or whatever. Yeah. But when I used to make the mistake, because I'd feel like, oh my God, I have to answer what I do for a living. And then it's like, I just can't. Because it hurts you. Even if you're not the most famous person in the world, it still hurts your feelings when somebody says.
So to that, you do all these, and honestly, I think you're probably the best person to ask this question to. You've done all these ridiculously huge roasts and, what people called you and stuff. Does that hurt your feelings when you go into a roast and then there's 8 people lined up just killing you for every kind of
But
personal...
the thing is, I was telling, there's guys writing this book. I interviewed me last week it's on Smack Talk. Right. Like for the workplace, in sports, and if it's a motivation. So it's from an intellectual point of view. And I said to him, it didn't hurt unless the joke was lazy.
Right.
when it was a funny joke, I've said this many times. My favorite joke about me was when Artie Lang was at his most fucking fat, drug-addled. He was gray. And he said on a roast, I think it's Shatner, he said, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said, hey, aren't you Lisa Lampanelli? It was hilarious. So that's not a lazy joke. That's a great joke.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim Norton's the same as me. I said to him at the Gene Simmons roast, which, by the way, was the most fun roast because it was for A&E and it was not that Comedy Central kind of like, operatives in the room.
Yeah.
I said to Jim Norton, because I always make fun of how ugly everybody is. I go, look at this dais, Carrot Top, this one. And then I go, the roast is ugly when they invite Norton as eye candy. So it's a great joke. But also, Norton emailed me and he was like, can I use that in my book and say that's in my intro and say it's my favorite roast joke about me? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so flattered. So if the joke's good, we like it. If it's lazy and just like, all right, okay, like keep going. Yeah. But you never show it.
Right.
Because you read the teleprompter, you see your names coming up, you see the joke, you read it first, and you go, get ready, they're going to show you.
Yeah.
So even if it was lazy, I'd laugh. But most of the time I was just like, that's a great joke.
So were those like, I mean, you have, I think, the most recognizable laugh on a roast.
Yeah.
Or anywhere, but like certainly in the roast when those jokes hit and all you hear is you don't even need to see you hear you. Yeah. Like, is there's some play in that, I imagine.
I mean, like, I just know that I was like, I got to be on. Yeah. Like, there's no way you want to be like Andy Dick, who would act mad, even if he wasn't, or so-and-so. I like genuine, pumped up emotion. So basically, like, Geraldo would always, like, shake his head and be like, oh. So it was genuine how he would react, but escalated, you know? Gotcha. And so I just was like, I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to have to fake it for, like, 10 of these jokes out of 100.
Right.
You know? But, hey, it's worth it.
It's the job.
Yes, sir. Oh my God, we've gone way over time.
We went over a little bit. But
how am I?
We don't really have a limit. Doesn't mean go over anything.
But I have to go to Duchess and get a hot dog.
All right. What's today? Is my dad working? What's today? Thursday?
What do you get at Duchess? What's your Duchess order?
This is what weight loss surgery will fuck you because you can only eat tiny amounts.
Yeah.
But I always, ever since the surgery, order like a man because I'm like, you'll just take it home and give it to mom. So I always order 3 courses. He sees me. We ate twice at that place. And
he immediately asks
get my fucking thing, and I go, give me the to-go thing. Yeah. It's going to mom or the doggy bag or whatever. Right. So, like, I go to Duchess, I get me a foot-long hot dog with mustard, relish, kraut, and bacon, an order of onion rings, and a big Diet Coke. And literally, I went there the other night after Bo's thing with Gus. 1 bite of hot dog, 2 onion rings, and I was like, I'm fucking full. And it pisses me off.
And you've stayed that full since you've had the surgery all this time?
Horrible. And I said to my doctor, I said, I think you made my stomach smaller than anybody else's because I'm a celebrity and you want a success out there. Because he did Rosie O'Donnell's.
Wow, that's a great point.
He did my ex-husband. Yeah, and he's laughed because, of course, he would never do that. He's such a great guy.
Yeah.
But it's really amazingly terrible. Yeah. Like today so far, all I had was like every 2 hours. You should really eat every 2 hours because the amounts are so small.
Yeah.
If I eat a little bag of those protein cookies, those Lenny and Larry's, I can't even eat the whole big cookie.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's a lot of fiber in those things, though.
That's not a problem. I like shit in a fucking road flare. I don't
care. Would you do it again, the surgery, if you know now or knew then what you know now?
Yeah, because it's clearly like I couldn't work on myself internally without taking care of the external first, which is just how I was brought up. It's my failing. Right. But I'll say in the show, we talk a lot about the surgery, and it's like, if I'd been born 20 years later, I bet I would have had some role models. I bet it wouldn't have been all the fat jokes. Like, I just think you'll live your life and you go, okay, it's what I needed to do. I wish I didn't have to. I wish I had been, like, confident, but I just wasn't.
Right.
I played off some confidence, though. Like, people thought I was confident.
Sure.
One of the women who takes care of my mom now was like, I just want to tell you, I'm, not going to fangirl too much, but when I saw you live, I was like in a bad relationship. And I was like, oh, if Lisa can be that confident, I bet I can too. And I broke up with him and I changed my life. So I'm like, she thought I was confident. I was a fucking mess.
Fake
but who cares? Great actress.
Yeah.
Best actress in the world. I could have been on Who's the Boss. By the way, that's why I moved to Fairfield, because I thought Tony Danza was going to come. Like, that was my fantasy, to be that Judith Light character and have like a really
Nick
hot...
doesn't know what you're talking about.
Do you know who's the boss?
I know Tony Danza.
But you don't know why she's making the reference.
Oh my God, you have to watch Who's the Boss. This like ad exec, Judith Light, like she like has a house in Fairfield, and the guy comes, she puts an ad for a housekeeper, and Tony Danza comes in from Brooklyn, and he's like the housekeeper. So it's this cute, and it's of course the whole thing is like leading up to them getting married.
Right.
Eventually,
It only took 9 seasons.
Yeah, it was so more time than even Cheers. I think it's so good. I had the box set that went to Goodwill.
I saw Sebastian did a pilot with Tony Danza as his dad. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
That
Tony
was
Danza can
incredible.
actually
He was
act.
pretty good.
He's
Yeah,
a great entertainer. He's great.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Do you still follow like stand-up comedy?
I never did, even when I was doing it. I don't watch it. It was
hard
like
to
homework.
when
You
you're-
feel like
yeah.
homework. Like I'll watch like a Will and Grace. I'll watch I like the sitcoms.
What about your
Stand-up,
friends, though?
I didn't have many comedy friends. I didn't like them. They're damaged. They're just like fucking mental.
So should I get out?
No, you fit right in, the two of you.
Yeah. No, I felt that way about some comics.
No,
too.
I think
when you start, you're like,
I think it's
I was
also
looking for some help there.
But I was older than a lot of them, so I think they're like, they like to spar at the table. I hated it. I was always like do time on stage and make fun and then be nice.
yeah.
Like you don't have to be mean off stage. So I didn't like that vibe. It's gotten better now for the girls. Like Nikki and all them say those guys aren't that mean anymore, but they were just mean.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's not good. That's one thing I love about Voss. Voss will fucking ruin you and then come up after and go, I'm kidding, right? You're not mad. You're not mad. Because he gets that. He's a recovery guy, so he gets that joking around's okay, but check in.
Yeah.
You know? So no, I didn't like many comics at all to hang with. But like I'll watch the, Sebastian, because I think that's funny. But you can name 40 comics, I'll know 3.
Right.
Even famous ones. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know one joke by any. You know who was good? Brian Regan finally has a Netflix special, so that's good. He's an old school guy. So some of those guys,
Right.
I really respect, but I just don't know them as people.
Yeah. No, I was just curious.
I called Brian once. We had the same agent, and I asked for his number, and I asked permission if I could call him because I was so like, Brian, how are you? I said, I'm more famous than you. How do your ticket sales keep? So how are you sold out all the time?
Right.
And he goes, I don't know. I think because he's never on TV. He goes, I think I just write and write and write, and the people come back because they know they're going to get a new hour every time. Yeah. And I go, I'm not fucking doing that. That's too hard. That's too hard. Like I don't. And also, I don't think you can do a good hour of new stuff more than every 5 years.
Right.
And he didn't either. He would write, and then come back 2-3 years later. But he's also prolific. Like he's quick.
Yeah.
Do you still get offered roasts to go on roasts?
I mean, I made it so public that I'm out.
Right.
But if I said I did that Ronnie one, it was really public that I'm not doing stand-up anymore. But I mean, if like Howard was to be like, okay, we're going to roast so-and-so and it's $1 million to North Shore Animal League, I'd fucking do it.
Sure.
Yeah. But if it was like for some douchebag party for like $100,000 to me, it's not worth it.
What about if it's for Howard's last show and it's go roast him just for the sake of doing it?
Howard, my favorite Howard joke was because we'd roast people on the show a lot.
Yeah.
So we did Andy Dick, we did Artie, we did all these people. Robin, Daniel, the KKK guy we did one year. My favorite joke about Howard was, Howard, I have more. So I do like 3 Howard jokes, and then I go, Howard, I have more jokes for you, but it's going to cost you $12.99 a month. So it's always like so much fun to get him a little, but you also had your limits too.
Sure.
Like I never wanted to be mean to him.
Right.
I'm not going to hit him about Beth. I'm not going to hit him about, because what's there to say anyway, about shit that like would hurt.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
Yeah.
Even with the other real roasts, I never felt like going for the hurtful thing.
Yeah.
Like even with like Pam Anderson, they said, don't make fun of this subject. Okay. Like it's not going to make it onto TV. What, are you going to hurt her because you're a badass? No.
Right.
Right.
Follow the rules and don't talk about hepatitis C. It's not cool. That's just not. She didn't want to mention. Stop it. It's gonna not make the cut. You're stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
Why waste it?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So this has been better than having a good time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
slightly.
a little bit.
Slightly. I text my dad, told him you're coming to Duchess.
Duchess!
Yeah.
He's my bitch.
That's my mom's order too. It's almost exactly the same.
It's the best.
The hot dog with.
I bet that bitch
bacon,
eats the whole thing.
She,
tell your dad, here's what happens with Duchess. Okay, so there's 3/4 of that fucking foot long. What's going to end up happening is I'll remember it in about 2 days. Yeah. I'll look at it, put it in the blender, and give it to my dogs.
Really?
My dog, I'll take out the weird shit that they could die from, like sauerkraut, even though they couldn't die from they don't like it.
Why the blender?
Like, today, what's it?
Why the blender?
Because they're
They're
tiny
little.
dogs.
They're
One of them
little.
has no teeth because she was not abused, but she was neglected, so they pulled all her teeth. But so today I ground up like stuff from Boston Market, and they went insane over it. Wow. It's so cute, but it's not blended. It's just chopped up. Because what am I gonna stand there with a fucking knife? I'm a celebrity.
My dog has the world's biggest underbite. It's hysterical.
Oh, I love those. I love ugly cute, like Sarah Jessica
That's
Parker.
why we're hanging out.
Yeah. There you go.
It.
Nick's one of those guys, though. He can either look horrible or really good. There's really no in between.
Let me know
no,
when
you're kind of at the in between today. I misspoke. All right, so listen. Final plug.
Yes.
Go see my show, Lisa Lampanelli, Sit Down and Shut Up. I'll explain at the beginning of the show why it's called that, by the way, so don't worry. Go to Fairfield Theatre, TRE.org. Get your tickets. We want to add a second show because I got to make some money. Actually, I don't have to. I'm very wealthy. But I want to look like a big shot. Just give me that ego of selling out 2 shows.
Sell the
I want to
damn.
Google your net worth now. I want to see.
Yeah. I love that they... Well, we won't talk about that.
Talk about it.
But you want to know what's interesting? I read the greatest book of all time last week. I'm obsessed with it. It's called Fame, and it's by Justine Bateman, who was Mallory on Family Ties. And it's a beautiful book of essays about fame. Not necessarily her, but her experiences in it. She's real intellectual. She went to UCLA. She's a smart chick. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, wait. What did you said right before that made me think of her?
Net worth, celebrity net
Yes.
worth. Yeah.
I said, I wonder if I have more in the bank than Justine Bateman, but we don't know because she was on the show for so long. I was like, I wonder how they got paid back then. Because I know with the Munsters, those poor guys who did those old shows didn't get residual. So poor Fred Gwynn didn't make a lot of money from the Munsters. It was horrible. And I looked her up, and it says she's worth $5 million, which is not much. But I go, I hope that's not true for her sake, but if it is, that's her journey, and that's great money for most of America. But boy, to be on a show for 9 years, I hope it's more. That's a lot
I'll
of
tell
work.
you, my father was a sports agent back in the late 70s and through the mid 80s, and he's now long deceased. When my mom moved, and we did what you're cleaning out your stuff, I cleaned out all my dad's stuff and found all these old contracts from the late 80s, early 70s, late 80s of football players who were very popular, all pros. Right. And I'm looking at these contracts and I'm like, oh my God! Like how did these guys? Yeah, little.
But was it little at the time?
So not little at the time.
No. So my dad represented very well known athletes, and he had the few contracts I found were all pros, defensive line, played with Lawrence Taylor, all the Super Bowl winning Giant teams. And one guy's contract in 1982 was $70,000, and I remember that
for
the year that we would go to we spent a lot of time in California, so we would always be going to the airport. And the guys who would pick us up in the off season were his clients who were working for limousine companies.
Holy
And
crap.
that's why when you look back and you see all these professional football players that were professional wrestlers in like the Florida League and all the things, they were professional wrestlers in the off season.
Sure, because you got to make money.
They had to make money.
Well, when you say $70,000, that's Nick's father makes that at Duchess.
No, he does not.
Yes. What's funny is
close.
I remember. Okay, so that's the '80s, right? I was in high school '75 to '79, which is why I love Freaks and Geeks, because it's that exact time period. I'm obsessed with that show. I did keep the box set of that, just so you know. Even though I'll never play it, I just had to own it. So I remember my sister and I pulling up to Trumbull High School for a play rehearsal, and she goes, "Oh my God." So I guess it was 76 or something. She goes, "I saw Daddy's tax returns. He makes so much money." I'm like, "Oh my God, how much?" And she goes, $30,000. And I'm like, "Holy shit, dude." Because back then that was like probably about 120.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I crack up now thinking, oh my God. So it really makes sense now that when I first started playing like Foxwoods and places that are really great money with the beautiful hotel rooms and stuff, I had a lot of weird sadness when I would go into the room and I'd be like, what's going on? I should be in a good mood with this beautiful suite. I'm like, oh, because my parents would never have treated themselves like that. So it felt sad to me. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, I can treat them. So I remember like when I was nominated for my first Grammy, I flew everyone and they all stayed at suites at the Ritz-Carlton and this and that and the other. So I had to stop doing all that because I'm like, now that's just worthiness issues on my part. Like I don't have to continue to make up to my parents what they didn't have because they didn't know they didn't have it like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not failed bagel makers like Nick's father. Yeah. So I just threw that in for him.
I can't wait for my dad to hear this.
You know,
I'm
Dad,
so
I love you,
excited.
Dad. You know, I love you.
No, he doesn't give a shit.
No,
Trust me.
but are you an only child, by the way?
Yeah.
That's a disappointment for him, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
you're his hope.
No, it's actually, we actually have joked. We have joked that.
Did you catch that?
No, I did. Yeah, I'm the
He's
hope.
going to skate over it.
No, but no, because, yeah, that's sad. But we've joked. He's like, because, I mean, he's been broke, and like some of the places we've lived have been not awesome. And he's like come in my room sometime, just been like, can you imagine if you had a sibling? She's like, we'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Especially if it was a girl. And I go, yeah, it'd be
yeah.
a real nightmare. I go,
Well,
so this
matter of
worked
fact,
out.
thank God at least you have your own room.
Yeah, I did.
Freaking Gus grew up in a studio apartment, 3 boys and the parents. Now that's, I think, why I don't see him as someone who will take advantage, mistake kindness for weakness. I think he's just like so grateful, and he's super talented though. He writes scripts a lot that are sold and everything. So that's why I think sometimes coming from that, you have way more appreciation. Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, my dad was a baller making $30,000. I didn't have to get a school job, you know? So I think
went to private high school.
Yeah,
St.
I don't like to
Joe's.
brag, but St. Joe's finest.
I used to work there. I know.
As what?
I used to
landscaper.
I used to be. Yeah.
There's no way you did anything that requires a brain.
I was a strength coach there. I used to train the teams.
But don't you have to be athletic to do that?
Yeah.
You know, I gotta give Nick some credit for the few things Nick knows. He knows them.
Well, no, I'm the same way there, Greg, because I know very little about the world. I know about what's funny. I know how to coach comedy. Look, I'll give you a fucking gem right at the table about your pausing, your fag hand, the whole thing. I'm very smart. Yeah. But I don't know a lot more. I don't have hobbies. I don't like.
I'm the same. I'm only like a few focuses.
It's
like,
very.
I can't.
You can't focus. If clearly one of them isn't grammar, because I don't think that's a word. Focuses. But
definitely not.
That's something I'm a badass at. I'm the best fucking editor. Like no one will ever care as much about a comma, a semicolon. I was always furious at my web designers and stuff because if there was a mistake, I would just have my assistant call and scream at them because I was like, how dare you? Yeah, I told you, have me proofread that fucking listing because I'll go off.
Greg's bad at it.
No, you
so
would not believe. Okay, you'll laugh at a couple of things I kept today going through my stuff. Yeah. I had flyers from when I do like Stitches Comedy Club in Nyack or whatever, or some shithole in Toronto. This is way in the beginning. Every one of them had my name spelled wrong in a really funny way. Lamponelli. Yeah. Then it was Lampin. And I laughed because once I got famous, I'm like, oh, they're not going to do the mistake anymore. Well, you know, networks would sometimes send over contracts with it spelled wrong. And I'd take very big offense. I'm a celebrity. How dare you? And Maggie would call them, my manager. She'd be like, you know, if you want Lisa to work for your network, I mean, this is how baller we were back then. Those days have passed. Now we'll suck a dick for a part. But she'd go, if you want her to work, maybe you should do her the honor of spelling her name correctly. And like they'd send flowers or whatever. But get this. She goes, Lisa, it'll never be as bad as poor Bill Engvall. She handled all the blue collar guys. She goes, poor Bill drives up to the Grove in Anaheim. Beautiful, big theater. I played it a few times to film his special, 1 hour special. It says, welcome, Bill Engvall. And I can't even imagine how that must feel because it's such a bad misspelling of that.
Yeah.
So, like, I can take it. They're not going to do that at Radio City. They're not going to, but that's a dick move. It's a gorgeous 3,000 seats, and you're going to spell the name wrong. So I guess Lampanelli, I give him a pass on it.
Yeah, Scopoletti's a tough one, too.
Nobody's going to ever have to remember it.
I was digging for that. I was hoping you would do that.
It has to be Nick Scopes. Yeah. Well, you do that.
Do you think so for real?
Listen, this is what I think. Here's what I think you do.
Yes.
I don't like the name, but I see Nick Scopoletti, Lisa Lampanelli. See, there's this rule of funny, even number of syllables. It works better as a name, believe it or not. I mean, I think it does. Okay. Jerry Seinfeld. I mean, of course, there's exceptions, and just as many. I have a prejudice against odd number syllables. It just doesn't work for me. I would do either a joke right at the beginning about, my friend wanted me to change it to, hey, Nicky Scopes, or something to suck them in a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to maybe edit it down a little, spell it more normally. Like mine was Lampugnally. I had to change to Lampanelli.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I like your name. I don't know what we could do about it, though.
Tell me what.
How does it?
SCOP.
No, say it once.
Scopoletti.
It's not terrible. It's not as bad as Lampugnally was. I had to get rid of the G. Anytime you have a silent letter that fucks you up, that you go to play a bowling alley in freaking Des Moines, and on the machine, because you're not famous yet, it says, headlining this Thursday, Lisa Lampugnell. I snapped in that room and I called my friend Scott Dunn, the now born again Christian writer. I said, find me a fucking spelling and a nickname, motherfucker. You know? So I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'll think about it.
Scopoletti, but everyone says Scopoletti. Like, say it quick, so it's almost like that.
Well, you're going to have to change the spelling then.
Yeah.
Because you can't, then have your feelings hurt about it. Yeah. Oh, they got my name wrong.
No, I don't care. I mean, people get my first name wrong, too, because it's, my it's Nicholas, but with no H. And I don't know why. Your father
fucked you in the ass on
that was
this
my
whole
mother
deal.
Did that. Wow. I was like, why the no H? That's what I said to him. Like, what the hell? And he goes, I don't know.
Scopoletti. That's odd.
Yeah.
You're screwed.
There's a lot of letters.
Nick Scopes, quicker, better. What about Sebastian Maniscalco?
But Nick Scopes to me sounds too. I'm trying to be show busy.
That's what I hate about it.
Because I think Nick can't pull that off.
Yeah, the Scope. I mean, everyone.
Oh God!
Literally, though, everyone that I grew up with calls me Scopes. No one calls me Nick or Nick. None of that. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
We're gonna have to experiment. Maybe it's
like Bo's name is really James.
I just think that it's tough. I think you know what? This is the least of your problems.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's a lot more you got to deal with.
I'm trying to
first.
grow my hair back.
Good luck with that.
Suck it out.
Do you have plugs or getting plugs?
I won't do any of that. No, I shit. I mean, I if I let my hair grow out, I have hair. Just my hairline has receded quite a bit.
Let me see.
And there's
in
the back here. Don't take steroids when you're a teenager.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's what happens.
Well, listen.
On that note,
since this ceased to be about me about 3 minutes ago, I don't like it. So go and get tickets for the show. If you don't go to see it, go fuck yourself. I don't care. Because what am I supposed to do?
Because you're rich.
Be sad about it. I'm a badass baller. You're sucking my D. And Greg, you better have the food in the dressing room like I want.
We will. Spicy, right? You love spicy food?
Yeah, motherfucker. Just get me
I will say that I do want you to come to the show because we do care about it.
Yeah, no, I want to add a second show. Come. They better come. All right. I love you, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, Nicky Scopes.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Guegolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. Bout get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix, so get ready, cause we bout to get it poppin'. And we ain't stopping.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the mangina dialogues. We at it again. Yeah, we at it again. Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the mangina dialogues. We at it again. Yeah, we at it again. Yeah, yeah.